land and water, you're dealing with mosquito-borne diseases. Here in Orange County, they are dealing with the St. Louis encephalitis outbreak in Orange County. Also, mosquitoes bring on West Nile virus, malaria, dengue fever, dog heartworm, and a lot of other transmitted diseases. I would like for our city team to get together with St. John River Water Management and the county to see about cleaning out these canals and ditches with water flow complete down to the source that it should flow to. I've heard people talking about little kids playing in water holes and there's fish swimming around on the other side. So I think that should be addressed. And if we could do anything for the citizens that's having this problem, then I would willing to work for that. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mr. Adams, any question?
In my opinion, what I feel is the most important issue facing Groveland is important, but not as important as to what our city as a whole feels. What's important to me may not be important to someone else. This is one of the reasons why I suggested we send out a survey last year to hear what our residents feel they need and what improvements they wanted to see. 70%, by the way, felt that emergency services was the most important thing. To answer the question as to how I feel, state mandates and intrusion on the principle of home rule and the impact on our city's revenue sources is what I feel is the #1 issue facing Groveland. There's a lot of mandates that the state is looking to impose, which would more or less put more stress and pressures on our budget we're not really prepared to do. So my suggestion on what to do about that would be to continue to develop the relationships with our county and local officials, and to solicit as much input from our residents to see what they feel is most important. And that would be by utilizing, as discussed that earlier, things like Facebook or Groveland app that I had suggested to the council to try to get the word out so we can get more input as to what is important to you all.
The Mayor mentioned emergency services. That leads us to our second question, which Ms. Sweat will go first. And that is, with the decrease in property values comes a decrease in tax revenue. If tax revenue continues to decline, what actions would you take to continue to provide necessary services to the residents of Groveland?
Well, of course, like all city council members, I would look for an alternative source of revenue, whether it be grants or sharing certain services, as well as we. I've lost my place, excuse me. Whether it be grants or sharing certain services, as well as do what we can to make Groveland a more attractive city to bring businesses in, to open their doors to the community. This would bring in a little bit more revenue, but we would have to look at cutting back on certain things, but not too far back to where it would hurt anyone.
Thank you. Mr. Lau, any question?
Groveland must first recognize the current economic environment that we live in and adopt a smart modern-day spending plan. By using this method, it will allow Groveland to stabilize its property tax rates and utility rates. In turn, Groveland will become extremely attractive to new business and new citizens as well as new development. Groveland must aggressively seek out new industry and high-volume commercial businesses willing to relocate to our city. The result will be the creation of a stable and viable commercial tax base. Based on the 80-20 theory, that 20 long-term sustainable jobs will help create 80 subsequent jobs with additional demands for housing and everyday service requirements.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Griffin, second question.
Of course, a city can't run without capital. And with the economic downturn, I would say that we can turn to what resources we have here in Groveland today. And the resources I would rely on to create incentives for new businesses to come in to employ people, wherein when you have employment, that means people can spend more money They can pay their taxes as well as raise their families. Also, we have in this area, we got University of Central Florida, we got Lake Sumter Community College, we got ways and means to train the workforce to provide capital for the city. Also, we got great real estate connections, we got access to premium commercial property, for industrial property, commercial property, office, and retail. Also, here in Groveland, we connected with a great highway system, Highway 27, Highway 50, and in the development of Crystal Sea Ford complex, then it's a win-win situation. So I think if we can create jobs for the people here in Groveland where they don't have to drive to Disney World, Orange County, and other surrounding counties, then it would be a pleasant environment for them. So that's where I see it, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Radford, what would you do to continue to provide the same level of service to the citizens of Groveland?
I want to start by saying we're fortunate to have an outstanding finance department that's led by Ms. Donna Miller. She serves as both city manager and finance director. And even though we've been faced with some tough economic times over the last 7 years, we've been able to establish and maintain a 20% general fund reserve that provides adequate funds in case of an emergency. As a side note, there are about 400 cities and towns in the state, and only about half of them have established reserves that average about 17 to 20%. With that being said, it is estimated that we'll see another 5 to 7% reduction in taxable values next year. However, we also have 7 new businesses that are set to open in early 2013, including Tractor Supply, that will increase our tax revenues. But on the other hand, if Amendment 4 passes, it will have an adverse effect on our budget, not to mention the county budget. And should that happen, we'll have to explore other funding options to ensure that we're able to provide the necessary services for our residents and businesses. Another one of the things we may be able to look to is shared resources, piggybacking on other cities' contracts, professional services or otherwise. But to say that there's one specific answer to our problem is difficult at this time because of the unforeseen issues that could happen to come November 6th with regards to Amendment 4.
Thank you, Mr. Gerber.
Yeah, thank you. I feel it's past time to tackle budgeting more. I've been reviewing the budget and I see there's over $250,000 to be approved right now without touching any base salaries. The staff and council needs to go into more detail on how money is spent. The city needs to live within their means the same way the citizens and businesses have to. Again, we have to promote Groveland more and more, not just go to meetings, talk a little, and go home. We need action. The city manager needs to be out there selling the city of Groveland. The city has incentives in place, and no company has taken advantage of them. I have talked to some of them, and they said that they were never told about the incentives. That needs to change. Again, it's all about working to make Groveland number one.
The next question is allowed to be first, and that question is, what are the ways to stabilize the tax basis through economic growth? What can the city do to continue to develop continue to encourage economic development?
First, Groveland must embrace the realization of the highly competitive business market we face in today's economic environment. Groveland must become active and an aggressive player in regards to the ability to attract and retain new business and industry. Second, Groveland must aggressively attract new business and create a substantial job market in our city. As I mentioned prior, based on an 80-20 theory of 20 long-term sustainable jobs will help create 80 subsequent jobs to demand for housing and everyday services. During my first term in office, Groveland entered into an agreement with the Lake County Business Opportunity Center. The center's primary objective is to attract new business to Groveland and South Lake County. We have increased Groveland's economic incentives 3 times what it was in 2010. I will propose further increases in the economic incentives as well as simplify permitting and licensing procedures. propose additional programs to encourage businesses in Endeavor to take a serious look at Groveland, looking to expand and relocate Central Florida.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Griffin, same question?
Yes, just plain and simple, to go out and talk with people and give them the information that they need to know about Groveland. Tell them what a wonderful place we have and that we have incentives, tax breaks, and we welcome them here so they can provide something for the poor folks in our city's finance. Also, I'd just like to say, we can't do that unless we go out and talk to people and be our ambassador for the city of Groveland. Of course, it's been done in the past, and I would like for the staff to go out and continue to talk to people from other cities, talk to corporations and business owners, and invite them to Groveland. Thank you.
Mr. Radford, economic development.
Over the last several months, the City Council has been working with the staff to enhance our economic incentive package that we hope will encourage businesses to come to Groveland. However, our preliminary budget that was presented to us actually had a reduction of $75,000 for that specific incentive fund. However, as the meetings progressed, I proposed that we could allocate some of our unrestricted cash to increase our incentive package to the same level as last year. As a matter of fact, I also suggested at that time we could take an extra $100,000 and reassign it to the property tax budget, which helped us to keep the tax rate the same. But businesses are only going to come to Groveland if there's a potential for them to be profitable. They do traffic counts, rooftop counts, and we'll look to see how many new homes are being built or permitted, as well as the inventory of existing homes. For example, as I mentioned earlier, we just approved a preliminary site plan for Tractor Supply. Economic incentives did not play a part in the decision to come to Groveland, but the need for their product and location was surely deciding factors. The same can be said about Albany's, Ace, and Publix, just to name a few. We can, however, continue the beautification projects that will at least make our city more attractive to potential new businesses, as well as being individually or collectively ambassadors for our city so we can attract those businesses, not just businesses for the sake of businesses, but the ones that we need for our residents to be able to not have to go to other cities to get essential goods and services that they need.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Hurd.
Yes, sir. This goes back to what we talked about earlier with Groveland Commerce Park, for example. You have buildings, you have jobs, you have higher tax base. It's a win-win for everyone. Right now, the CRA is paying $7,000 a year just to mow that property. And there's no tax revenue coming from the property. The city of Groveland and the Groveland CRA is property poor right now. Tens of thousands of dollars lost every year in city-owned property. Again, partner with Lake and Orlando EDC and get the word out that Groveland is open for business. Set up booths and franchise conventions like they have at the Orlando Convention Center. Stay in touch with what is going on and be where you can to promote Groveland. Again, stop talking and start doing. Work with Lake Tech to help train for the jobs that are available to them. Thank you.
As my poor gentleman said,